Okay, like any other presentation, they like to start with numbers. So today, I'm no different. I don't want to mess up, but no different. So what you're seeing here are two sets of numbers. First set of numbers is that all the practitioners here today are seeing, or even corporations are seeing all their workloads going up to the cloud, 75% of them. So you know that what is the tipping point here was really the pandemic. Everyone just goes on to the cloud. And because of this acceleration, continuous delivery has been accelerated as well. So on a weekly basis, this is going on. And in the last maybe 1 year or 2 years, generative AI, because of ChatGPT, has gained a lot of traction. And that would actually accelerate everything as well because of this generative AI. So with this set of numbers, what are the things that would contribute to security? Right? As you are doing more in terms of your development and you're using more open source packages, so the 80% of people trying to build packages would have used some kind of open source, some kind of packages that is not scanned. So that's vulnerability. Secondly is that people are racing to break what you have built. They are racing in a certain sense where they want to break what you have built in 15 minutes. In any organization at this moment, the ratio between developers and security is 10:1. And lastly, because of generative AI, you will see probably the numbers of 15 minutes become lesser because there are tools out there using generative AI trying to break what you have built. So these are the set numbers that you can see. These are clashing together, and this is what's happening now. So before I go to the next slide, I remember Rajesh's slide just now saying that security, they put in security as early as possible in their development cycle. And I remember this because during the pandemic, I was trying to build an application. I was bored. And a lot of people are, finding jobs and kind of thing. So I tried to build an application for people to look for jobs. And I was so fixated in trying to launch it as fast as possible. I thought maybe we can make some money out of it. And I didn't think of security. The first day I put it out there, my website got defaced. They were nice enough that they leave the first page, nothing wrong. Second page, they insert the second page and say that we have hacked your page. So they're nice in a sense. So that was a warning sign for me, and that was a warning sign that they have not gone into my infrastructure. Right? So because of that, and a lot of times, because you didn't think of security as early as possible, security remains as an afterthought because you're rushing out of your applications. You're trying to beat probably your competitors in terms of applications out there as early as possible, and it remains an afterthought. And that also contributes. What is a problem in terms of security afterthought? Right? This is kind of a life cycle that you go through every day in terms of your development. And if you're using a piece of open source, a piece of package that's not scanned, a piece of code, it could be just probably one thing that you use in open source. But as you go to the next stage of launching it with a pipeline, with a automation tool, and you have 5 pipelines, 6 pipelines, that can exponentially explode into maybe 6 to 7 vulnerabilities because of one vulnerability that wasn't checked because you're using open source. And once you've gone through the pipeline and goes into the application, what happens? And using the same pipeline with the same vulnerability and go out into the applications, and you might be using the 5 pipelines for maybe the 20 applications that will get built into your applications. And at the last stage, when applications get rolled out, and that's where people will try to look at how to break your application maybe because of the open source that they use, and that becomes a vulnerability in your application. And I agree with Rajesh just now that security has to be as early as possible in your development cycle. So, in that sense, what can you do about things about that? Because this is HashiCorp event, obviously, I have a HashiCorp. HashiCorp as well, in terms of how do you actually help with your IAC automation, right? What we are advocating, or even some of people here are advocating as well, is that build your security as early as possible, right down to the code level. Start it as early as possible because, for example, if any one of you has been reading the news in terms of the US government, they advocate that now anyone that wants to do business with the government, they need to be S-bomb. That's how you probably keep your packages all in check as an S-bomb. So even in the news like Equifax, they were being hacked, and the first thing that they said was that we are scrambling to find our vulnerability. How can we speed up that assessment? The one thing that they brought out was S-bomb, right? So how do you do that as early as possible when you are developing your code? And once you have done that, once you go into your repository, how do you have that constant scanning, constant protection at repository as well? Because you would have all your codes, your packages, your golden image all in the repository. How do you get that kind of protection in your repository level? Then it goes to your pipeline. That's where things start to get automated, things get to provision. How do you have that? How do you secure your software supply chain in your CI/CD pipeline? And lastly, once it goes out into the real world where applications get used by every people, that's where you need continuous runtime protection as well. So with this slide, what we are telling you is that put in guardrails at every stage, and if any of guardrails fails, it revokes the cycle, goes back again. That's what we want to do, and probably a lot of you has been hearing out in the industry is that shift left, right? Shift left security, do it as early as possible, like what Raji has just mentioned as well. So now, HashiCorp slide. How do you, with that kind of blueprint, we have some kind of, we have a partnership with HashiCorp because they are our great partner. These are the few integration points that we have with HashiCorp to help you with your environment, to help you automate stuff as fast as possible. Because sometimes, like I said, you're rushing out for a project. How do you automate this? How do you build security in your pipeline? In Palo Alto, I come from the Prisma Cloud team, so today very much we integrate with Terraform, build the scanners into your pipeline so that you don't need to think about it. So it gets scanned, something goes wrong, you revoke, goes back again. Because as everyone, you know, if you have a vulnerability and you do a pull request, everything just goes through without any checks. So how do you prevent that from auto-provisioning or even so misconfiguration right at the start and that pull request doesn't go through? Then maybe I'll just start from number 1 and number 3 as well. Number 1 is Palo Alto's firewall. We have integration point with HashiCorp on the firewall as well. And last one is how do you manage that with Palo Alto's SOAR with integration of Vault. Now, I'm going to leave you with, maybe there's another last slide. This is with that 3 integration point. This is the overall, probably blueprint architecture that you probably can look at to automate your whole environment with, from firewall to Terraform, pipeline scanning to visibility and trying to inject secret with Vault. This could be your whole architecture blueprint in terms of how do you build your security posture, how do you build your security as early as possible so that when you release your application, everything is in order and you leave as much loopholes, as little vulnerabilities as possible. And what you need to probably concentrate on is the zero-day attack. So, what is really the benefit of trying to have automate your security? So this 4 bubble actually highlights pretty much the benefits of trying to do that. So number one, you could lower your time in terms of remediation because it's automated, you get less people. Anything that fails in the pipeline get restart again because of you have built-in security scanners. Decrease event of severity because at this moment, there's a lot of vulnerabilities, so there's a lot of alerts. I am sure if anyone is security practitioners, you will see a lot of alerts every day. How do you manage your alerts in a certain sense where you look at those that are important to you on a daily basis? If you are from the FSI, you need to have, you're being audited every day, compliance becomes important. How do you make sure you look at the important alerts on an everyday basis? Thirdly, how do you simplify your compliance? Like I said, if you are being audited, how do you simplify compliance so that it's built into your development cycle? Lastly, because of everyone is going to cloud, the attack surface actually broadens. And there's a lot of times you couldn't get enough visibility in the cloud environment. So how, with an automation system, you could probably reduce your attack surface because you're putting checks and guardrails in every step of the development. So that is my last slide, and hopefully that is informative for a lot of you. And I will bring Lee Hong up to share with you in terms of CPTO.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Benson, for the sharing of the how is the integrations of the Palo Alto network and HashiCorp. So I hope you are ready to place your order. So just let me share with you on the new procurement route. So that's my job here today. Just a very quickly sharing before we go for the break. So Westcon, we are a specialist technology distributor. So we work closely with Palo Alto Network, HashiCorp, and AWS as a major distributor in the region. So at the same time, what we are seeing is like your normal procurement process is done through, like, let's say, for instance, like by issuing a PO and an invoice. And also, meanwhile, we are seeing a growing of procurement through the cloud marketplace, right? So the reason of people going through the cloud marketplace, for instance, fast turnaround time, right? And also at the same time, you are able to use, let's say, for instance, your AWS credits for the purchase, right? So, you know, at the same time, did you know that you can get a better value from a cloud marketplace private offer? Right? So that's the thing that we are going to share with you today. So that is going to be AWS Consulting Partner Private Offer. Westcon, we are offering a private offer program, a partner program through CPTO. So the benefits to the user, for instance, like take example of what Benson shared just now. The solution that he shared just now is not available on the marketplace listing by itself, right? Because this is a integration, a customized solutions. Therefore, it is only available on the private offer, right? And then at the same time, you know, we all know that it's like, for instance, it's like when you are having a project, you have a different timeline, different phases, different payment terms, right? So therefore, in the private offer, you are able to customize it based on, let's say, for instance, my payment will be like the first 3 months, and then subsequent payment will be like the next 6 months, and at a different amount, right? And also, the other benefit of the private offer is that, for instance, like what Ned shared just now, our second speaker, he was talking about like 43% of the challenge is basically your, the cloud skill set, right? So by buying just a solutions, we know sometimes it can be complex. What you need is a support. What you need is a professional service. So cloud or CPTO, a private offer, we can package a professional service into it together, right? So that is the some of the features or the benefits of the private offer. And then at the same time, you know, you're still allowed to use your AWS credit for the purchase, right? So Westcon being as a value-added distributor, we have a very close relationship with most of the vendor, for instance, like in this case, like Palo Alto Network and also HashiCorp, right? So we are able to work together with our partner to come up with a so-called, I would say, discounted pricing, right? And to benefit the end user. So, and also we manage the end-to-end transactions of the procurement process. So, you know, at the same time, you'll be able to get your, the payment term is still applicable, for instance, like your 60 days, 90 days kind of payment term, right? So how does it work? It's basically a very simple process. It's just as good as, like, for instance, you have your requirement, or a partner or SI will gather the requirement, and then come to Westcon. We work together with our vendor to come up with the pricing and the terms and conditions, and also then our vendor will create the private offer link together with all your requirement and also the agreed pricing, and pass to Westcon. And Westcon, we put in the the terms and conditions, everything, and lastly send to the end user. So end user, what you get is to just to click to accept the link. So the entire transactions, it can be done within, like, let's say, within a day, actually. So that's how fast it is in terms of the private offer. So with this, right, you know, with AWS Secure, our partners, our local vendors, and us, we all involved in the transactions to be able to provide a better support to, and also a technical enablement to, and even your payment term to the end user side itself. Yeah. So that's all I have to share. So I think I'm thinking within the 5 minutes time. So if you have any further questions on the CPO, feel free to talk to us. Our booth is just right outside together with the Palo Alto Network. Yeah, thank you.